Thank you. All right, so today we're going to make a crispy grit cake, and we're going to do it with a little bacon, shrimp, and green garlic. Green garlic's one of my favorite ingredients that we start seeing pop up at this time of year. It's just got such a beautiful, fresh, bright flavor. It's one of the ingredients I get most excited about. So what we're going to do first, I didn't want to make you guys watch me cook grits for an hour because that would be incredibly boring for a demo. So we went ahead and we made some grits. And when you're doing the grit cakes, you want to cook them pretty tight. That way when you go to sear them or when you go to cut them and then sear them, they'll be nice and firm. If you have grits that are too loose, you try to put them in your pan to sear, they'll just return to grit soup, and that doesn't make for a very good sear. So in there, we just cooked them in water with a little bit of salt. I added a touch of milk because they were getting dried out while we were waiting. And then we've just got a nice fresh cheese. This is country curd from Wife and the Woodsman and the Wife. But he has great cheeses. So we're going to fold this in. That's another reason you want to have your grits pretty nice and tight, is because this cheese, with it's really creamy, it's going to loosen the grits up a little bit too.
All of it?
All of it, Maggie. Waste not, want not. And then once we have them in there, we're just going to put it onto a parchment-lined baking dish. If you put it directly onto the baking dish, you can still cut it out, but this way, as Maggie's going to show you in a minute, it's much easier when you get to the pulling out stage. So you just want to take it, spread it on an even layer. And then to start our sauce, we've got this beautiful Pine Street Market bacon in here, which is located directly to my left in case you're shopping later. It is the best bacon in Atlanta. And one little tip, if you're doing bacon like this, you can buy the bacon ends in pieces. They're about half the price of the layout bacon, and you're cutting them down into small pieces so you can save yourself a little bit of money. So you can see we've got them nice and crisped up at this point. So we're just going to take the bacon and put it aside. And we're going to keep the fat in the pan to do the rest of our cooking with, because why wouldn't you? I mean, other than like heart health and things like that, but that's not what we're here for today, yeah.
On the sheet tray, are you ready?
Yeah. Okay. So now we've got all our bacon fat in the pan here. We've got our little diced up green garlic. We're just going to put that in the pan. Give it a quick little stir around in the fat. And we're just going to add a little bit of water to help soften up the green garlic. The green garlic is a little bit fibrous and stiff, so just giving it a little bit of water to help soften it up before we make the rest of our sauce. All right. And so you don't have to watch the grits also cool on the sheet pan before we do them. We made these ones ahead. And with the parchment underneath, hopefully this will work.
We'll see. All right.
And you can see it's nice and firm. That will make it nice and easy to sear in the pan. So at that point, however hungry you are, cut your pieces. And then the lovely Chase, turn around, wave to the people.
Hey.
He's doing the actual searing of the grit cakes back here. But what we're doing is we just have some seasoned flour and we have an egg wash. So this is just egg and cayenne and milk whisked together and salted flour. So you're going to dip your grit cake into the flour, then into the egg, then back into the flour, and then goes into a lot of butter in a nice cast iron pan. And what the flour does is it helps give you another layer of crust on there. And also, if you haven't quite cooked your grits firm enough, it'll help keep a crust on there, so it gives you a little bit of extra protection. All right. So you can see our water's pretty much cooked out, and our green garlic is softened down. So now we're just going to take our beautiful chard here. You could use any green in the recipe, but chard has a really nice color and flavor. And we're just going to let that wilt down in the bacon fat for a second. Did you run away with my spatula, Maggie? It's all right, we'll go tongs. Okay, and just stir that so it starts to wilt down. And we'll get a little bit of salt at this point too. You always want to salt throughout the course of the recipe, not just at the end. If you add a little bit of salt in the different stages while you're cooking, you'll actually end up having to use less salt Come on, Maggie, we're Saltyard. We can't not have the salt. You'll end up using less salt if you season throughout the stages as opposed to just all right at the end there. I'm going to do it chefy from up high. We're in front of the people.
Okay, okay.
There you go. You have to bear with us on the cooking time. With all the wind, pan's not quite so screaming hot, but that's all right. Slow poached greens. We just have a little bit of sherry vinegar here. Gives you a little bit of acid in the dish, and I like cherry vinegar because I think it's got a really good depth of flavor. And Lauren was nice enough to buy this really fancy one, so. There. And then we've got some heavy cream. This is beautiful heavy cream from Atlanta Fresh over there.
It is awesome.
Your normal heavy cream at the store is usually about 36%. I think this one comes in around 43% fat. So once again, we're talking heart healthy stuff, right? And now we're going to add the bacon back in. And you have the shrimp, Maggie? So just stir the bacon back through. And then as this sauce reduces, we're going to add our shrimp in and just let them really gently poach. So we have these beautiful shrimp from the Savannah Shrimp Company. And I will get on my soapbox for a second. You should always know where all of your ingredients come from, but I don't think that's any truer with any ingredient other than your seafood. You know, the standards in some countries for how they produce and the ethics behind shrimp production would horrify if you saw them. And since we live in Georgia, where all the beautiful shrimp are right on our coast, you should really source your shrimp from where they come. So we've just taken them and diced them a little bit, break them up, help them cook. And the cream's taking a little bit of time to come up to temperature like we talked about, so.
Hanging out.
Almost there. I think I see one bubble, so we're getting there. And just to show you what you're looking for with the grit cake, you get that nice little crust on it with the flour. We're trying to win over the British people in the crowd. This is the godmother of my daughter right here, visiting from England. She had her first grit the other day at breakfast and was pretty horrified by it. So we're trying to win her over with crispy grits instead of soft grits. So no pressure, Emma, now that you're... She said it tasted like salty, horrible porridge. So we can at least do better than that, I hope. I didn't cook them, so I can't take any credit on that one. But there we go. And like I said, basically this will be done as soon as the shrimp turn pink. You don't want to cook them too hard, just a nice gentle cook in there.
Once they're pink, you can turn them off.
Yeah, as soon as you see the pink, you can turn them off, exactly. You guys have any questions? You could use spinach. It'd be better to use a slightly hardier green because the spinach and the cream will really just wilt down. You won't see a lot of it, so it's nicer to use chard or kale or something like that that has a little bit more body. But you certainly could use spinach or arugula. The flavor would be good. You would just have to use a whole bunch of it to get the sort of effect that you're going for. We plating up back there? Yep. All right. Through the magic of prior cooking, we'll have a plate ready for you in just a second, so you don't have to wait for this to all be done. Thankfully, because this is going very slowly. All part of the fun of cooking outdoors, right? Is that the wind running through my mic too? Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good touch.
All right.
All right.
You gonna finish with butter?
Yeah, we can finish with butter. Is that ranked all the way up hot? Yeah. You'll probably get a bunch more in there because you're going to need all of them to go.
All right.
Hey, did you put some butter in?
You ready for it?
Yeah. It's not in the recipe, but you might as well throw some butter in. Adding butter at the end of pretty much any dish makes it better, right?
Very hard not
bacon and butter and cream. We really are doing.
There's some
You
green
guys
in
have
there.
promised me you'll go buy some fruit somewhere in the market today to make up for this, just so I don't feel bad. There, yeah, there are vegetables in there. It's balancing out. Yeah.
Exactly.
And shrimp's a lean protein. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need you around more. You're good. All right. Well, we've got the first ones coming out. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for bearing with the the usually very fast process that we've turned into a slow poaching over here.